Some good storms going down, but no more storms left, and Phril's units are going to evaporate to these Marines, which do not have stim. That is a bit of an oversight. Ooh, Warp Prism Harass over here. A lot going on in this game. He did warp in, or possibly drop 4 Zealots. This Banshee is going to go to work on those. Did he manage to run away his Harvesters? Doesn't seem that way, because he only has 19 left. You want to be really, really fast in pulling Harvesters. When you have 2 bases, just grab them, send them to your other base. In fact, I recommend hotkeying your screens, which you can do with Shift F5 or Control F5 and those sorts of things. You can, of course, change those hotkeys. But anyway, oh, a lot of storms down. This is looking pretty ugly for the Terran player, although he's gotten managed to get this base with auto turrets and banshees. Pretty hard to follow this game. The internal logic is a little strange, but Terran is in a really terrible shape unless he can do gigantic damage with these banshees. Oh my god, Protoss just hasn't been making units. Looking at the army tab, Terran is ahead in food, even though he's way, 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 way behind in Harvesters now. The reason for this is Protoss just kind of stopped making stuff. He was so distracted with this push out, and even with this sort of Warp Prism stuff and trying to break the front, which he's been doing for ages, he just hasn't made anything. And that's kind of weird, since it looked a lot like he was going to easily win the game over here, having killed so many SCVs. But now it's not so obvious. Now he's going to lose this Nexus. He has nothing. He has no income. Look at this. Income. 0. Well, he has some gas. He has no income now. Terran, on the other hand, still has 2 orbital commands and can get mules out of those to start mining here, and should be dropping those mules any second. He has 3 saves up here, so he should be dropping those right now because he is broke. The Marines finally have stim. Ugh. We want a little better reaction time pulling the Marines out of the storm. Yeah, Phril has been quite good with these storms, but I have to say, really, right from that first probe, we're seeing how Phril is actually distracting himself. Oh no. He's actually distracting himself with a lot of his little antics, like that very early probe, which was so costly economically. These Marines backing up into a corner to be slaughtered. And I think Phril is going to win this, but it's such a nasty game. I mean, it's so funny. He has all these active warp gates. There we go. Needs to keep warping in units. I don't think... Well... Yeah, I mean, that's it. So these are all of his units. Oh, man. It's so funny. He had enough earlier for enough Stalkers to completely, easily win the game. By the way, Cloak is not out in play for Skatbone. I would get Cloak. Even now, I would get Cloak. Like, right now, I would research Cloak. Right this second. Because if these Banshees can Cloak, these Stalkers aren't going to be very good against them. And there may be some kind of building race coming up. Skatbone... Oh man, I am so not used to playing Terran that I completely forgot that he can lift his buildings. So it's going to be a little bit hard. I mean, Phril did have enough for a Nexus and ran probes away. And that's good, but these Banshees should be able to kill all of these probes very quickly. And oh no, so many feedbacks on those Ravens, but maybe would have been better, that energy would have been better saved for Storm, because now there are fewer Ravens out, but there's still some Banshees. And that means Skatbone, I think, has won the game. As soon as he spots this expansion, he is... going to try to expand here himself, and that's not even necessary, actually. He needs to... it's very simple. All he needs to do is scout everywhere on the map. So he needs to just take one of these workers and send it to like these 3 locations maybe, or well, I guess this, yeah, these 2 locations, and he needs to take a worker and send it to these locations. And as soon as he knows about this base, he can kill it with these banshees. So all he needs to do is make sure his opponent has no income. That's the only thing that matters right now, because if this goes into an economy game, I am not sure. I'm not sure that Skatbone will be in the best position. Anyway, to summarize, since I believe it is Phril who requested this game, although the Reddit name was Phil or something like that, so I'm assuming those are the same person. Manages to get minerals to warp in more Templar and some cannons. Terran does scan, so he knows about this base now. He knows about the only income for the Protoss, and how will he react? He will react by keeping his Marines right here and killing some other buildings. Although killing Templar, always a good thing. Ooh. How much is feedback? Oh, feedback is cheaper than Sonic Storm. I don't use feedback very much as Protoss, because I'm not great at Protoss. But obviously a useful skill, letting you instantly kill units. Yeah, Banshees, interestingly enough, even if they cannot cloak, they still have an energy meter and can still be blown up. Point defense drone down here for some unknown reason. He's going to break down these rocks rather than going around the other direction. And here we go. That is the wide open spot in Phril's defense. These Banshees have been the most dangerous thing out in the field for the Terran player for some time. Stalker's coming up. And see, if he had gotten Cloak, he could just cloak and kill this Nexus or something. Although, I don't know, these cannons might have long enough vision. I don't know exactly how long the vision of a cannon is. This expansion was shut down by an Archon. Marines hanging out here, defending a non-functioning base. This is going to run home. So I distracted myself earlier. I was going to recap what Phril should have done differently in this game, and I think absolutely the biggest thing was make more units, because when Terran started to do a whole bunch of damage, Terran pushed in here with so much damage dealing stuff, so many Banshees and Ravens and all that jazz. Protoss had like 3,000 minerals in the bank, something absolutely absurd, and it would have been easy to get just get Blink and get a ton of Stalkers and just completely clean up everything Terran had. Those Marines were not doing well against the Templar, and I do like that Templar usage, but when Templar is the only unit you're making, yeah, run into some problems. Now, Phril might actually still win this, although Terran has finally gotten this natural expansion back up and running, and this I can't say I've ever seen something like this before. Protoss is one running base immediately next to Terran's one running base. And I would like to see more Banshee harass here. I would like to see very active Banshees, because you don't need to keep them here to defend. You can bring them back around if you need to defend. There's another Templar out, so feedback is in play. And, ooh, gonna storm some SCVs. Fair enough move, but ooh, some micro that might not be doing that much. I'm gonna target fire the Templar. Banshee for a Templar. Don't know how I feel about that exchange. Zealot is gonna take out the rest of Skatbone's economy. And should have taken out you temp archives. Yes, as a matter of fact, yes, there's a lot of stuff in this base you probably should have taken out. Even better than taking out the Templar archives would be taking out these pylons powering all of the warp gates, because not being able to warp in Templar is not as bad as not being able to warp in any units at all. So taking out these 2 Paladins would have made a big difference. So this this is the kind of weird late game decision making that you don't see very often, but it's important to keep a cool head and realize what's important. The fact that Skatbone did not scout for expansions was a big killer. You should do that immediately. I mean, even if you just think you have an advantage, to say nothing of you think you're going to win the game, if you just think you have an advantage, immediately scout every expansion on the map, because you want to secure that advantage. You want to increase your information and really make that solid. So, Phril, interesting play. I always like seeing good Templar usage. Too many Protoss are relying too heavily on Colossi in this matchup, so Templar are great. Even getting those Archons out on the field. Fun game, and I'm going to wrap this up here for now and continue to get to more stuff in my Reddit thread, which seems to be dying down a little bit, though it still has a good number of upvotes. It is still on the front page. I still find it funny that it has way more upvotes than submitted replays, because it's like, hey everybody, you know, I'm here to review games, and everybody's like, yeah, reviewing games is awesome, you should review games, but nobody actually wants their games reviewed. Anyway, I'm going to think about going to class in a little bit, and this is modulistack saying bye now.